Complete this sentence. Direct-to-consumer brands that do well in 2025 are focusing on what? We'll go with Adam.
They're focusing on simplicity and speaking to the customer. And I know it's kind of what I've said already, but ultimately, the only thing that's going to happen in 2025 is there's going to be more brands coming to market. There's going to be more apps that people are chucking on site. And ultimately, there are going to be more and more people that brands are interacting with from a shopping point of view. But are people talking to them? Possibly not. So I think, going back to the core part of business, if you think about that, that shopkeeper we mentioned before, what do? They kept it simple. They showed their goods. They said good morning. They said thank you. They asked them if they need help. All that stuff. Just go back to basics, because you're going to stand out in this very hyper complex, over-designed ecom world that we're going to be facing in 2025.
Yeah, brilliant. And before I go to you, Peter, when we say talk to customers, can we reel off between the three of us how many different ways that someone in an e-commerce founder can actually talk to their customers? So we got surveys, we got good old-fashioned phone call, we got live chat. Would you include that in terms of a potential communication avenue? We got emails.
Absolutely. Emails.
Text.
We've got text, we've got listening, we've got analysing search data on site, because that's another form of understanding what they need. We've got net promoter scores, so NPS surveys to understand what people are looking for. We've got jobs to be done surveys, where we are basically meeting with our high LTV customers and basically getting to the crux of, look, why did they initially choose to come to us as a company? But secondly, what is the core thing that actually the core job that your product does for them? So is it about, if it is a vitamin drink, is it actually about making their knees feel better, or is it about giving them more energy at 6 o'clock in the morning when they're supposed to be on a podcast that they're late for? So you've got lots, bit of personal on there, but you've got lots of different ways, depending on how big you are as a company, to talk to customers. And if anybody wants any examples of these, just connect with me on LinkedIn, guys, and I've got plenty that I can share with you on this.
Yeah, perfect. And so, going back to that first example, or even the vitamin example that you just shared there, was that literally what you asked those people? Why did you shop with us? What was it that kept you coming back a second time? Was it as simple as that, or did you sort of ask some roundabout questions to form that?
Yeah, so with jobs to be done, it's kind of a case that you have to sort of work up to these, and a lot of the questions you ask tend to be then responsive based on what they've done. So generally, with the kind of thing of why did you come to us, what you generally start up is saying, look, when you first realised that you're looking at this type of product, what was your first action? So in that case, I might be saying, well, probably a couple of years ago, I was realising actually I need to look after myself more, and I started looking on Google to find out if there are any. Sorry, our dogs are now communicating to each other across the.
Yeah.
Exactly. But ultimately, in that situation, you then find out. Look, they were going to Google and they were looking at. They tell you about the companies they're looking for, and then all of a sudden you find out. Well, actually, you know what? A mate down the road who I play soccer with on the weekend, he actually told me about you guys. Right, okay, so we've got that point. We then drill down again and we're saying, well, okay, in that situation, then what did you do about it to actually go and find out more about it? So then they might be saying, well, actually, you know what? I can't really remember, but I can't remember seeing this Instagram video you guys did. So all the way through, as you're going down, what you're identifying is all the different touch points that these people see. And then when you get to that kind of crescendo moment of what actually, when you think about this product in itself, and when you consuming this vitamin product, what's the actual thing? How does it make you feel? Well, actually, it makes you feel a bit more supple. Okay, where does it make you feel more supple? In my knees. Well, tell us more about your knees. So it's kind of like, I guess, a little bit like playing detective, but you're just trying to get to those kind of innermost crux moments of what it is, because what you can then do with that is you can use that then in your messaging, with your marketing, with your on-site. So it just cuts a bit deeper when a customer comes to site, rather than saying, B12 infused vitamin supplement drink. Or who gives a shit? But, got sore knees? This will make it better. Or, just something along those lines, because ultimately then that's the whole thing. You want people to go, oh yeah, that's me. Right, bye. So it tends to be one for bigger companies because obviously there's a lot of time involved in doing it. But what you can get from it is incredible. But equally, even as a smaller company, NPS surveys, you can learn so much from those, and just tweaking your messaging, tweaking your pages on your site with it, because again, you're learning what customers want, like, and dislike.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Mate, people, I'm excited for our listening audience to hear this podcast, because there's a lot of absolute gold here. So thank you for that. When you mentioned jobs to be done, what is that? Is that a strategy or an app, or what's jobs to be done?
Yeah, so it's a strategy. So, I mean, Jobs to be done has been around for a long time, but one of our partners, Valentin Radu, who owns a company called OmniConvert, really kind of got us into this a few years ago. And it really is just that process that I went through there of
Okay.
ultimately you're doing a kind of a face-to-face interview or video interview with your kind of key, most, highest spending customers, and
Yep.
you're working out, okay, that core moment of what they need your product for. Now,
Yep.
if we, for example, like take you two guys today, you're both wearing white t-shirts. The white t-shirt jobs to be done for Peter might be that he wants to look more tanned because he's finally got a tan after being in Australia for a year. Now, for you,
Here we
Ryan,
go.
it might be that actually, your job to be done for that white t-shirt is you're looking to find the love of your life, because after this podcast, you're going to a bar in Melbourne to pick up a hot chick. You might be married, I don't know, but point is, you know, you both have a different job to be done. Our
Yep.
responsibility as a company to find out what that is for that white t-shirt, and then find other customers like you to get them to buy it for that job to be done. So that's the kind of thing that we're looking at about that process, and how you then get to that point where you can sell more.
Fantastic, and that just ties in so beautifully to, as you said, your newsletters, your copy, your social media content, everything. If you started to build that around, both Peter and I's reason for wearing a white shirt, you just get so much cut through. That's brilliant, mate. DTC brands that will do well in 2025 are focusing on what?
Um, they're focusing on sustainable long-term growth activities. Not quick fix, not sort of instant gratification things like Facebook ads, Google ads. Those are things, if you turn them on, they're working well, cool, great. You turn them off, guess what? You don't have a business. You've got to focus on the long-term sustainable things. What I'm talking about here is got to focus on SEO. You've got to focus on CRO. Yes, I'm plugging what we do, but ultimately CRO is it's. I've actually written a LinkedIn post about it today. It's compound interest. If you get one win today, you get another win next week. If you compound these tiny little wins, 1%ers, just tiny little increases in your revenue, that compounding of those little wins back to back over time are huge. I did a rough calculation on a 100k brand today, and I was like, okay, if you did 2 little optimizations in a month, you got 2 wins, and all you did was increase that by 1%. So that works out to about 2% growth month on month, right? After 5 years, if you were a 100k brand doing 100k in monthly revenue, in 5 years' time, you've actually made, over that 5-year period, you've made an additional 5 million in revenue. It's actually over 5 million. And that is mental. Like, to think that you were a 1.2 million a year brand. You've now made, over those 5 years, you've actually doubled, because you've made an additional 5 in that period. And that's just by doing little incremental changes. And look, sometimes you have wins, sometimes you have losses. To say that you're always going to have a 1% is a bit crude. That's a bit, a rough calculation. But sometimes you're going to have a 20-30% win,
Yep.
So that's not even taking consideration some of the big wins you can have. So you can imagine what that sort of long-term sustainable focus on little things that can improve your store, that look little, like you go, 1%, that's great, cool, you've made me $500 this month. Yeah, but we've made you $500 this month, plus next month, plus next month, plus next month. And ultimately those things are adding up.